We are definitely in special times. I never experienced something like this, and I think we all have to have our parts to play. So try to stay home, try to save another's life. I know many of us, the younger generation, we are having a bit less risk than the older generation, but stay home, try not to spread the virus, so that people in the hospital doesn't need to work day and night and they can have more time to save other people. So I think we as producers, I think we always want to have spend more time at home making music. I think this is the part that we should do. I really expect to see boom on beatport in 2 months or 3 months with a lot of new tracks. And just please stay at home and try to be safe. And hence today, this was one of my Patreon who asked me to actually make a track that is influenced by Lane 8. And I was scrolling through his tracks and I saw his new album, and that album has this really nice hopeful feeling in it, and I thought I should make an influenced tutorial of that album so that we can have this kind of a really special tutorial to have a bit more positive feelings. So don't forget to watch the video until the end, because you will have a surprise in the end, and hopefully it's a good surprise. I will shut up now, let's sit down and try to get some positive feelings in Ableton. As usual, we have this low end to start with, and we have this kind of smooth kick, and it sounds like this. Kind of a strong kick simply because I had this kind of a little bit more slapping, like a regular basic kick. So I wanted to have a bit, I had the opportunity to have a bit more space to it. On the kick part, we are really having these 3 layers as usual. The sub layer, the mid layer, and the high layer, and each one is important. And then we are just gluing them together, and a slight drum bass. It's a bit boomy, honestly, because of this one, but I felt like it worked nice with the track, but you can definitely maybe consider decreasing a bit here, depending on your taste. And then we have this bass. It sounds like this. So basically, I have used Diva. I think I just used Diva for whole remake or the influence track. In this case, we are really having this kind of a smooth, clean, silky bass with a nice decay here on envelope 2, playing with the cutoff, so that we have kind of plucky sound over here. Nothing really more, and then a slight saturator, and then sidechain with the kick. And the group side, I'm actually using a bit drum bass and glue compressor to glue them a bit together, and a slight E key on the low end. Nothing really that serious, but this kind of gives this deep house feeling to the track, if that makes sense. Again, the kick is a bit too big probably, but I just like it the way it sounded, and then kept it. And then we have this arpeggio. Again, we are using Diva, and this time we have slight automation on cutoff, depending on where we are on the mix. And then we have also slight automation on the, I will say, this is the cutoff and this is the reverb. So basically when we are getting out of the track, so I'm using a bit more reverb to give this kind of, let's say, phasing out feel. And here on the synth side, we are actually just using this sawtooth. And it's really biting. The reason for that, first we are utilizing this like a high pass filter with the peak. So when we cut the lows, we are also peaking there a little bit. So it gives a bit like a body to the sound. And then we have this cutoff. And the cutoff is modulated by envelope 2. And envelope 2 has this kind of nice small decay. So it makes it really plucky. And then we have this plate. It's really dark because we are damping quite a lot here, and then the size is big. So it's quite a dark. It's like if I solo this, oh sorry, not that button, this one. So it really gives kind of warm feel to the sound, and then finally delay. It just pushes on the sides actually. You see the center is 0 and the side is slightly here. So it's like subtle, really barely you can hear it. And on the effects side, I'm using the pedal. It's just like an emulation of guitar pedals. It's subtle, but it almost makes it like a guitar plug. And a slight saturator and an EQ. Just cutting all these nasty lows and boosting a bit here, because I felt like there's free space here in the track and I wanted to use that space for the arpeggiator. And then we have the pads. These are probably really important for this track, and they sound like this. If I haven't shown you the notes, these are the notes for arpeggio, and these are notes for the pads. It's beautiful. The reason that I'm always like a repeating kind of is that I almost get this kind of pluck sound to it. I think on the original track, or in his tracks, he always had this kind of vocalish synth on top of that. So I was just trying to get something similar in Diva, so I did it this way. It gives the vibe, I think, is good enough, and I really enjoyed that. And then I have automation on the cutoff so that we are going dark and bright here and there. So if I play. And we go dark again, and then we go up again once we play these high notes. And then we side change the kick, and I'm cutting off slightly here. Again, we had the booster here on the plug, so I just want to give a bit space to the plug to bring them front. And then we had this completing pad sound. It's almost like actually a plug, or the stab sounds like this. Together with the kick, it's just completing the other guy. It really gives this kind of vintage feel, like almost 80s movie feel to it. It is again the Diva. This time we have it like a longer attack, and we are utilizing the DCO, and we are using this kind of in-between square and sawtooth wave, hence this really gritty if I saw this guy. And then cut off modulated by envelope 2, we have these long attacks, so it's like whoop, sounding is coming from there. And then we have a good amount of chorus, making it a bit spread to the stereo field, making it a bit more like an ensemble. And then on the effect side, we are having a big reverb, or the wet reverb, very wet reverb. Here's where the ambience comes from as well, and then slight boost on the EQ. Again, at the empty space here, and a slight compression on top. And on the group side, I think we don't have anything. Yeah, it's just like together like this. And the clap snare, I wanted to have it a bit special, so I have a couple of different layers. So you see that we are playing different pattern. The reason that it's just slightly different each hit. And because I think this guy is a bit different, and then I'm utilizing this guy slightly. It's almost like a very organic feel into it. It's almost like I'm hitting kind of with the snare with a box full of random stuff in it. And in the end, it's like a bit EQ, a bit glue compressor and saturate on top of that. And on the percussion side, really simple stuff again, keeping it organic as possible. Sounds like this. Basically just this sound together with this sound, cow bells, and almost like a snare, and then just slightly putting a EQs and so on, and that's it. And it plays the same pattern all the way up. And then hi-hats, I wanted to have this kind of really shaky feeling, like a lot of shakers feeling. So the first one was this 16 hat, but it's already like quite a white noise. And you see I'm getting the dark gray of the shaker, or the 16 hat. And it's sidechain the kick. And then I have this, let me show you this one. This is the low shaker, sounds like this. Basically, these like 3 different versions of the same shaker here, but they are picked up differently and the length is different. and transpose down and up, so the sounds is slightly different as well. So even though it's same shaker, it feels like I'm doing like organically manually. Gives really this nice ambience, and together with this guy, and then we have fill the high part with like an off hat or off shaker, and it sounds like this. And all together, this really nice, organic, like a bit darker feel to it. Really nice. And then finally we have some effects. These are the classic stuff. I think the first one, if you know me, I love using reverse cymbals, especially reverse rights, like these, just like this. And then I have a bit bigger version of it. And then this could be something interesting. Basically, I'm using actually operator and analog. Analog is just for the white noise. Let me play this guy so you can hear it. It's just white noise here, nothing else. I just changed the color a bit slightly. But on the operator side, I have this oscillator, which is kind of square wave. But I am playing with the frequency, so frequency goes up. So I'm pitching it up. It's almost like a 80s arcade sound in that sense, because they use a lot of square waves. So that's the reason. And I bat it in the reverb, so it's really kind of on the background a bit. And then to make it even more interesting, I had another like a bandpass filter, and I'm actually automating it with the LFO. And while automating it, I'm moving them up like, and it's shaking, ding, 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 ding. This super interesting riser. I think it's really cool. And finally, I have this rain and train. It's just white noise, or not really white noise. It's a noise. Sounds like this. Just gives this nice ambience, like especially in the beginning. If you take a look. It almost gives this kind of spring feel, like this. The birds are like singing, and this rain is out there, and this like hopefulness and so on. And it's the reason that I want to do this one today. Again, let me play from start to end, and you will basically see everything here. Plus, I'm going to make this one free to download, so no download gates, nothing. It will be just free to download, just maybe helping you to stay at home and make some music, and maybe making some kind of hopeful stuff. Let me play start to end, but again, I will make it free download. No downloads gates, no following up, no getting your email address or anything. Just click and download. And yeah, that's it. Project file, samples, everything is available for download for free. Just check the description below and you will find the link there as well. During these times, I'm trying to stream as much as possible, so don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button so that when I stream, I think you get a notification. I'm not sure how that works really, but I will try to stream as much as possible as well. But other than that, I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye.